The first thing I heard wasn't the crying. It was the silence between the sobs, that hollow, broken quiet that lingers just long enough to make you wonder if you imagined it, before another muffled cry slips through the walls and settles somewhere deep in your chest. I froze halfway through rinsing a glass, water still running over my hand. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Apartment walls in buildings like ours were thin. You heard everything. Arguments, laughter, televisions playing too loud. But this was different. This wasn't noise. This was pain. I turned off the faucet and stood there, listening. Another cry came, softer this time, like someone trying to swallow it before it escaped. It came from next door, the unit that had been empty for weeks until someone new moved in a few days ago. I hadn't met her yet. Hadn't even seen her clearly. Just a glimpse once, a woman carrying a box, head down, moving quickly like she didn't want to be noticed. And now this. I dried my hands slowly, my mind already arguing with itself. It's none of your business. What if she just wants to be alone? What if it's something serious? The last thought wouldn't let go. I grabbed my keys before I could talk myself out of it. The hallway felt colder than usual, the overhead light flickering faintly as I stepped outside. Her door was just a few feet away. Up close, the silence felt heavier, like it was holding its breath. I raised my hand to knock, then hesitated. Who just knocks on a stranger's door because they heard them crying? Someone who can't ignore it. I knocked anyway. At first, nothing happened. Then I heard movement inside, quick, hurried, like someone scrambling to pull themselves together. A few seconds passed before the door cracked open just an inch. A pair of red, tired eyes met mine. "Yes," she asked, her voice rough, guarded. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Every sentence I had prepared suddenly sounded wrong. I'm your neighbor," I said, gesturing awkwardly toward my door. "I just wanted to check if you're okay." Her expression changed instantly, defensive, almost embarrassed. "I'm fine," she said quickly. Too quickly. "You didn't have to—" Another tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. Neither of us pretended not to see it. I didn't move, didn't push, just stood there giving her the space to close the door if she wanted. She didn't. Instead, her shoulders sagged slightly, like the effort of holding everything in had finally become too much. "I'm sorry," she whispered, wiping her face. "I didn't mean to be loud." "You don't have to apologize for that," I said gently. That was the moment something shifted. Maybe it was the tone. Maybe it was the fact that I wasn't asking questions or trying to fix anything. Whatever it was, the door opened a little wider. Her apartment was mostly empty. A few boxes scattered around. A couch that looked like it had seen better days. The kind of place that didn't feel like home yet. "Do you want some water?" I asked. She hesitated, then nodded. I stepped inside, moving carefully like I didn't want to disturb the fragile quiet. The kitchen was barely stocked, but I found a glass and filled it. When I handed it to her, her hands trembled slightly. "Thank you," she said, her voice softer now. We sat across from each other in the small living room. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then finally she did. "I didn't think anyone would notice," she said. "Most people probably wouldn't," I admitted. "But I did." She let out a shaky breath, staring down at the glass in her hands. "I left everything," she said after a moment. "My job, my apartment, my relationship." There it was, the kind of sentence that carries a whole story behind it. "It wasn't healthy," she continued, choosing her words carefully. "I kept telling myself it would get better, that if I tried harder, things would change." She gave a small, bitter smile. "They didn't." I didn't interrupt. "Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is just listen." "I don't even know who I am without all of that," she admitted. "I thought I was strong for leaving, but tonight—" Her voice broke. "Tonight I just feel lost." The word lingered in the air. Lost. I understood that feeling more than I wanted to admit. "You're not lost," I said quietly. "You're just in the middle of finding your way." She looked up at me, searching my face like she was trying to decide whether to believe me. "That sounds nice," she said. "But it doesn't feel true." "Feelings lie sometimes," I replied. "Especially when you're hurting." That made her pause. I leaned back slightly, keeping my tone calm. "You left something that was hurting you," I continued. "That doesn't make you weak. That makes you brave, even if it doesn't feel like it yet." Her eyes filled with tears again, but these were different. Less about pain, more about being seen. "I don't feel brave," she whispered. "You don't have to feel it," I said. "You already did it." For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then, unexpectedly, she laughed. A soft, fragile sound, but real. "I don't even know your name," she said. "Daniel," I replied. "I'm Maya." We shook hands, and somehow that simple gesture made everything feel a little more grounded, a little more human. We talked for a while after that. Not about anything heavy, just small things, where she was from, how terrible the building's heating system was, the best place nearby to get coffee, the kind of conversation that slowly stitches a person back together without them even realizing it. At some point, I stood up to leave. "You'll be okay tonight?" I asked. She nodded. "Yeah," she said. I think I will." I paused at the door. "If you need anything," I added, "I'm right next door." She smiled, a real one this time. "Thank you, Daniel." "For knocking." I shrugged lightly. "I'm glad I did." That should have been the end of it. Just a small moment of kindness between neighbors. But it wasn't. Because around midnight, there was another knock. On my door this time. I opened it to find Maya standing there, her expression tense. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I wouldn't bother you, but I think he found me." My stomach dropped. "Who?" "My ex." The word alone carried enough weight. "He's been calling nonstop," she continued, holding up her phone. I blocked him, but now he's outside. He texted saying he's here. Right on cue, a loud knock echoed down the hallway from her door. Her face went pale. "I don't want to open it," she whispered. "You don't have to," I said firmly. Another knock. Louder this time. "Open the door, Maya." A man's voice called out, angry, demanding. I stepped into the hallway, closing my door behind me. "Stay here," I told her. I walked toward her apartment just as the man raised his fist to knock again. "Hey," I said sharply. He turned, clearly not expecting anyone else. "Who are you?" he snapped. "Neighbor," I replied. "And you need to leave," he scoffed. "This doesn't concern you." "It does when you're banging on doors in the middle of the night," I said calmly. His jaw tightened. "She's my girlfriend." "No," I said evenly. "She's not." That hit something. His expression darkened, anger rising fast. "Tell her to come out," he demanded. "I'm telling you to leave." For a second, I thought he might push past me. But something in my stance, or maybe the fact that someone was watching, made him hesitate. "You don't know anything about us," he muttered. "You're right," I said. "I don't, but I know she doesn't want to see you." Another long pause. Then finally he stepped back. "This isn't over," he said before turning and walking away. I waited until he disappeared down the stairs before letting out a breath. I didn't realize I'd been holding. When I turned around, Maya was standing in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. But this time, she didn't look broken. She looked relieved. "He's gone," I said. She nodded, covering her mouth as a sob escaped, but it wasn't the same kind of sob as before. This one sounded lighter, like something heavy had finally been set down. "Thank you," she whispered. I shook my head. "You did the hard part. You left." She stepped forward, and before I could react, she hugged me. It was quick, tight, full of everything she couldn't put into words. And in that moment, I realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes changing someone's life doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it's just about hearing the quiet between their cries and choosing to knock anyway.